Beneath the cold, unyielding gaze of Terra's distant stars, the Officio Assassinorum brooded on a grave problem. Despite their unmatched prowess and relentless determination, operatives from the Eversor and Vindicare temples had seemingly met their match. Malfus, a chaos lord of unspeakable power and malevolence, had eluded their deadly grasp, leaving in his wake a trail of death and devastation. This monstrous figure, clad in armor forged from the screams of his victims, and imbued with some of the darkest blessings of the warp, had grown too formidable for the usual methods of the Imperium's silent executioners. In the shadowed chambers of the Officio Assassinorum, lit only by the flickering glow of ancient censers, a new plan was hatched. The stakes were clear. Malfus's unchecked rampage would plunge entire sectors into an abyss of corruption and despair. And so, with a weight of determination that could rival a black hole's pool, they turned to one of their most enigmatic and feared weapons. Dispatched from the silent corridors of the Culexus Temple, the assassin, known as Vadrex, was chosen. With a presence as chilling as the void of space, and armed with the unique tools of his temple, he was set to confront this monstrous adversary, where others had failed. In the swirling, tempestuous maelstrom of the Eye of Terror, a silent shadow persistently lurked behind the malevolent wake of Malfus. The very stars seemed to shudder and flicker as this Chaos Lord's power grew, his corrupting influence casting ripples through the very aspect of existence. The Eye of Terror, a realm where nightmares are birthed and hope is but a fleeting memory, became the grim stage for the deadly pursuit. The Culexus operative, a spectral figure devoid of a presence in the warp, haunted Malfus's every move, waiting, watching. A silent predator in a universe of noise and chaos. But as fate often did in the twisty corridors of the galaxy, it played its card at the most unexpected of moments. As Malfus basked in the dark blessings of the warp, ascending to the much-coveted and feared status of Demon Prince, this very apotheosis, a moment of dark triumph, rendered him susceptible to the Culexus's lethal tools, specially designed against Psykers. The Culexus Assassin Vadrex, seizing this rare moment, unleashed the punishing might of his psych-out grenades. The very air crackled with tension as the Demon Prince reeled, his usually indomitable presence shaken, and then, with incredible precision, the assassin stepped from the shadows, channeling the devastating power of his animus speculum. Each blast, a concentration of anti-psychic energy, hammered into the faltering Demon Prince. With relentless determination, Vadrex vanquished the entity that had defied even the deadliest of the Imperium's silent killers. His mission was complete. In the sprawling expanse of the grim dark future, where the warp and its malevolent inhabitants constantly threatened reality, the Imperium faces threats not just from physical foes, but also from the psychic realm. These are the ever-lurking menaces, the unseen threat. That which is unknown and unseen commands the greatest fear. The Culexus Temple, one of the temples of the Officio Assassinorum, specializes in confronting these psychic threats. The agents of this temple are not mere killers. They are psychic voids, individuals with the extremely rare and mysterious pariah gene. This gene renders them as blanks, being untouched and unseen by the warp, and thus the anathema to Psykers. Simply put, they are beings with no soul. Even Aldari warlocks have compared these beings to avatars of evil itself. The warp, often referred to as the Imperium, or the Sea of Souls, is a parallel dimension of raw emotion, psychic energy, and chaotic forces. It is the source of all psychic powers, and serves as the realm from which the malevolent entities of chaos originate. The warp is a mirror to the material world, a swirling tempest where emotions, dreams, and fears coalesce into tangible forms. It's said that every being with a soul casts a reflection, a shimmer of themselves, in this maddening expanse. Humans, xenos, and other sapient species have a psychic presence or echo in the warp. Psykers, those gifted or cursed with psychic abilities, have a particularly strong reflection, making them beacons in the warp's tumultuous seas. This relationship is double-edged. While they can tap into the warp's power, they are also more vulnerable to its predations and corruptions. The Chaos Gods and their demonic minions constantly seek out these souls to consume them, drawn to their brightness like moths to a flame. The Culexus Assassins, however, are anomalies in this cosmic design. Because they possess the extremely rare pariah gene, they don't just have a diminished presence in the warp. They have none at all. This absence is palpable, not only to Psykers, who find their abilities nullified by a Culexus's proximity, but also to regular beings who feel an innate sense of unease in their presence. The very nature that makes them invaluable assets to the Imperium also ensures their isolation, even among their own kind. The rarity of the pariah gene cannot be overstated. In the vast multitudes of humanity spread across the galaxy, only a minuscule fraction possess this gene. It is said that less than 1 in a billion beings would come to possess this genetic anomaly. This makes each Culexus Assassin a precious and singular weapon in the Imperium's arsenal. The Officio Assassinorum, with its manifold temples, exists in the half-lit corners of imperial bureaucracy. These temples have ebbed and flowed in favor from the few figures that know of the existence of these organizations, and also depending on the political climate of the Imperium. The Culexus Temple, given its uncanny nature and the inherent mistrust surrounding the individuals with the pariah gene, has faced a particularly tumultuous history. In the early days of the Imperium, the very existence of the Culexus Temple and its blanks was a subject of contention. During the years of the Great Crusade, the Sisters of Silence initially caught and brought a significant number of individuals with the pariah gene back to Terra. As this happened, the Astronomicon, the crucial psychic beacon that directs starships to the remote reaches of the Imperium, was becoming increasingly obscured by the newly arrived individuals as they started to create a hole in the warp, a void of nothingness. This alarmed the highest authorities on Terra. The very essence of these strange individuals, a void in the psychic tapestry, went against the grain of what many understood about the warp and the nature of souls. Arguments abounded that they were not truly human, but aberrations that should be purged. This sentiment was fueled by the unsettling feelings most experienced around them. The Sisters of Silence were given the responsibility of ruthlessly eliminating any additional pariahs that were discovered, just as they did with renegade Psykers who posed a threat to humanity. As a result of some members of the Council of Terra's desire to have pariahs outlawed, like other hazardous mutants across the Imperium. Malkador, the Sigillite, the Regent of Terra, and the first Grand Master of Assassins, had been ordering the Officio Assassinorum to work covertly with the Magos Biologus and Genitors of the ancient Mechanicum to see if it was possible to harness the pariah's strange abilities and use them to kill enemy Psykers. They had spent years creating specialized weapons and training methods. But now, their hard work was going to be undone by a frenzied witch hunt. So to avoid this, the Mechanicum announced the ending of the Pariah Project, at Malkador the Sigillite's request, making something of a spectacle out of shutting down its laboratories and executing many of the specimens they had examined there. So it was the Council of Terra's bureaucrats switched their focus to the more pressing issues at hand, after concluding that no more action was required, and that the matter was closed. But what truly happened is that the Mechanicum carried away the most promising pariahs to a specially constructed and fortified complex. The Culexus Temple, formerly known as the Culexus Clade, was founded there. It is said that all pariahs and Culexus Assassins are kept within the fortress, unless on active duty. Discovering individuals with the pariah gene is no small feat. These individuals are mainly outcasts, often orphans, with even regular humans finding their presence unsettling. Once identified, they're inducted into the temple's enigmatic ranks. Their training is grueling, involving not just physical and combat training, but intensive mental conditioning to harness their unique aura and magnify its effects. Being weaponized voids, their mere presence can silence the screams of the warp, making them invaluable in the war against chaos. In a universe where Psykers can change the tide of war, predict the future, or harness the warp's destructive powers, they can also become vulnerable assets or potential liabilities. Rogue Psykers, for example, if left unchecked, can become conduits for demonic incursions. The Culexus Assassins exist to hunt such individuals down. Their very presence a bane to psychic abilities. Their nature makes them not just immune to psychic powers, but actively disruptive, turning the Psyker's strength against them. When deployed on a mission, stealth is a Culexus Assassin's ally. They move like wraiths, their absence from the warp making them all but invisible to Psykers. their approach is often unnoticed until it's too late. Upon confronting their target, they can channel their aura to create an overwhelming sense of dread and suffocation, weakening their prey before the killing blow. The unease they instill is not restricted to their targets. Even allies might find their company disturbing. A necessary evil for the greater good.
That thing really is an unparalleled witch killer. It fights with a ferocity I envy and a fervor that I admire. Still, it's a pity how frequently I need to replace the acolyte assigned to watch over it. You'd think one would have gotten used to the thing before going mad by now.
Each piece of war gear carried by the Culexus Assassin is not only a testament to the technological might of the Imperium, but also its adaptability. Arguably the most iconic piece of war gear used by the Culexus Assassins, the Anima Speculum, is a helmet-mounted weapon. At first glance, it seems like an eerie mask with a single cyclopean lens. This device collects psychic energy from the environment, drawing particularly from the warp emissions of Psykers. Once charged, it can unleash the stored energy in a devastating blast, turning a Psyker's own power against them. They also carry special Culexus grenades. These are tailored for anti-Psyker operations. Upon detonation, they release a burst of null energy, momentarily creating a dead zone in the warp. Psykers caught in the blast can be rendered unconscious, or even permanently sever their connection to the warp. Built into the Culexus Assassin's armor, the Imperium makes them even more resistant to psychic powers. It refracts and disperses psychic energies, ensuring that the assassin remains a blank spot in the warp. This makes the Culexus invisible to psychic perception and protects them from psychic attacks. It also enables them to shift out of phase with reality. In the vast, sprawling expanse of the Imperium, where warriors are numerous and threats lurk in every shadow, the Culexus Assassin occupies a singularly unique role. It stands as an enigma within an empire of a million worlds, always ready to strike against the psychic threats that imperil the realm of mankind. In an age of darkness and uncertainty, their unyielding purpose and unmatched skills offer a glimmer of hope against the relentless tide of psychic adversaries.
Within the turbulent expanse of the warp, reality weaves and wanes like the dimming flame of a candle. To gaze into the Imperium is to glimpse a sea where souls drift, lament and rage in a ceaseless dance. It is the maelstrom of creation and devastation. And yet, in this vast and tumultuous sea of souls, where emotions swirl and roar with incomprehensible might, there exists a silence, an emptiness. The Culexus Assassin stands as an enigma. They are the absence where emotion cannot touch, the shadow unfelt even by the darkest entities of the Imperium. To them, the Culexus is the silent chasm in the heart of the warp's relentless scream.
On this channel, we are putting together narrative Total War cinematic battles and Warhammer lore videos. A special thank you goes to our Patreon supporters who help us in the making of more content. You can also join Patreon and earn extra perks while supporting the videos to come. Find the link in the description below. Make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching. See you on the next one.